Are we able to be? We live in the most health-conscious society of all time. Paleo, keto, vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, non-GMO, gluten-free. It's wild. We know that what we put into our bodies affects us, but do we know that what we put into our minds affects us just the same, if not more? Hey, I'm Tanner Kalina. This is Ascension Presents. We need to be able to be just as strict with our physical diets as we are with our art and media diets. We need to be able to filter out those things that mentally and spiritually constipate us. You are what you eat. We've all heard that before. We are what we consume. The art and the media that we take in has a huge effect on the way we think, and therefore on what we believe, and therefore on how we live. So wait, if you are what you stream and you're streaming me, does that mean you're me? No, it probably just means you're my mom. Hey mom. But guys, the art that we take in has a huge effect on us as individuals and therefore on us as a society. I'm gonna give us a few examples here to help bring this home. When Lion King came out, The Lion King was my first movie I loved. I had a blonde Persian cat named Fuzzy, and when The Lion King came out, we shaved Fuzzy to look like a lion. So it looked like he had a big puffy mane and a big puffy tail. And at dinner, I would hold him up. It was a great bit. But even then, The Lion King is the favorite movie of my little nephew, James. James just recently visited me and we were watching The Lion King nonstop. But whenever we weren't watching Lion King, James was reenacting The Lion King for me. He was going, "Rawr, king, king, king." He was singing, can't wait to be king. But this movie had a huge effect on my behavior at home, as well as my little nephew's behavior. That's a small example, but here's a few more. When Bernie came out, Bernie was based on a real story. It stars Jack Black, but the real Bernie was able to come off of death row in prison and live with the director after the making of that film. When Super Size Me came out, McDonald's dropped the Super Size option from their menu and went through a complete rebranding. When Top Gun came out, the number of young men enlisting into the Navy hoping to be aviators went up by 500%. 500%. When Philadelphia came out in the late 90s, the social perception towards homosexuality shifted from one of animosity to one of sympathy. It was a monumental film in destigmatizing AIDS. Guys, nothing is just mere entertainment. Everything that we take in impacts us, even if it's just a little bit. Everything that we take in impacts us. And so are we aware of that as we're scrolling through Hulu or Amazon, just throwing on a film with our pals? Are we aware that what we're watching will impact the way that we think? Do we pick something that promotes lives of virtue? Do we pick out films that will build us up, or do we just throw something on because it's the rave around town, because it's what everyone else is watching? Do we turn on to turn off? There's no turning our minds off because our minds are constantly digesting. So that's film. Admittedly, I might be a little bit biased there, but music is also powerful. The Greek philosopher Plato knew this. Plato said that music is able to bypass reason and penetrate to the very core of one's being. Science has backed this up. For some reason, scientists haven't been able to explain this yet, but when we listen to music, our brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is the same chemical released during sex or other euphoric experiences. Dopamine creates ties. And so we're literally creating ties with the music that we're listening to. It literally chemically impacts us. Science backs that up. Plato also considered music to be a primary vehicle of character formation because of its ability to form the rational mind. You're watching this video to be formed or at least informed. Are you aware that the music you're going to turn on later will do just the same? Social research has shown that the average Spotify listener will listen to 140 minutes of Spotify per day. 140 minutes, that is 8 hours. I'm just kidding. That is 2 hours and 20 minutes of music. That is 2 hours and 20 minutes of potential formation. Are we aware of that when we turn it on? Plato went so far as to shun any music that promoted sloth or drunkenness because of its impediment to one's rationality and therefore his or her wholeness. You don't have to listen to Discover Weekly for long before some song will come on that completely degrades women or makes marijuana out to be this absolute cure-all. I was a huge reggae fan back in the day, still am. But I've really had to filter out the songs that I listen to because a lot of the lyrics stir up desires in me that no longer fit the life that I want to live. Have you ever turned on a song that you used to love as a kid and then you realize, oh, whoa, the song's about that? We have to be willing to cut ties with things that we once held precious. We need to be able to be aware that our inner man is being formed by all that we consume, and so we need to let it consume good stuff. One more tidbit about Plato. Plato thought that music was so potent actually, that the common man shouldn't be allowed to make it. Only those who have been trained in philosophy and have a disciplined outlook on life. My man went hard because he knew that music informs us. And it's not just film, it's not just music. All art informs us. I'm sure some of y'all maybe know this, but when Hitler took over Germany and began his reign, the first thing he did was eliminate art that he found threatening to his reign. He would put this art in what he called shame exhibits. He called them degenerative art, and he would publicly shame them. Why? Because he knew that art carries ideas, and ideas carry worldviews, and worldviews carry action. The German poet Heinrich Heine said that wherever they end up burning books, they will in the end burn human beings too. We are expressions of our art, and our art is expressions of us. Our art has huge effect on us. Okay, so we know that art and media is important. We know that our diet is important. So how do we do a diet well? How do we put in good stuff into our bodies that helps form our inner man? Philippians 4:8. Come on there. Turn with me now. Finally, brethren, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is gracious, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. We need to pick out and seek out art that builds us up with good things to meditate on. We know that what we put into our bodies affects us. What we put into our minds affects our hearts, affects our souls. We live in a time right now when it's impossible to not have an agenda. Companies that we used to love and trust, like Disney, are becoming more and more aggressive in agendas that run contrary to the Christian life. So therefore, we need to be more and more aggressive in how we discern the things that we're putting into our bodies. Our inner man is being formed by all the stuff around us. So start weeding out fast food media. If watching something makes you desire to do something that is contrary to the Christian life, weed it out. If listening to a song stirs up things or images in you that is contrary to the Christian life, weed it out. And then replace it with something else. Christian music is going through a renaissance right now. There's so much good stuff out there. Seek it out. I think Christian film and media is running a little bit behind, but it's catching up. There's good stuff out there. And it doesn't even need to be Christian per se, but it needs to be stuff that promotes virtue, that promotes the good life. Seek it out. An artist, this is your time. This is your time to rise up. Make stuff that promotes the kingdom. Make stuff that promotes virtue. Be disciplined in your faith and be disciplined in your craft. Rise up. This is your time. The saints were essentially just people with spiritual six packs. They dieted healthy and they worked out their relationship with God. So get your media diet healthy. Start working out those spiritual abs.